Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well today. Today I'm going to be reading chapter 10 of Shallow Seas, the first story in my crime anthology, Life's Dark Corners. If you're unaware, I am actually doing a deal up until the end of May 18th where Life's Dark Corners will be available totally free on the Kindle. It's also available on Kindle Unlimited if you have that. You can always pick up a paperback copy if you prefer, of course. But it's only free on the Kindle right now. So, let's begin. Chapter 10. You're lucky to still be breathing, Detective Aubrey stated matter-of-factly. A lot of people have disappeared in those waters, and with that slug in your shoulder, it's a damn miracle you're here right now. Calvin looked away from the stern-looking 40-something grizzled detective sitting next to his hospital bed and interrogating him. He concentrated on the IV that was pumping him with fluids to the heart monitor that checked his heartbeat to the cast that supported his arm. He'd woken up like this just a few hours ago, and the hospital doctor rushed to get the police when she found him conscious. Of course, because he'd gotten shot, he had to be interviewed. You know, the doctors told me that your blood tested positive for fentanyl, Aubrey informed him. If we search through your residence, will there be anything you won't want us to find? I don't give a shit, Calvin snapped. Do what you're going to do. I'll be here when you want to charge me. Listen, I'm just asking because you've got a lot in your system, and I can tell you've been using for some time. That's enough to get probable cause to search your residence. But considering that you were shot in the woods, that leads me to believe that you may have been part of a deal gone bad. So I'm more concerned about getting whoever shot you. I mean, why else would you be out there? Bad date? Calvin smirked, almost laughed. Something like that. It'd be paramount to your safety to help us as much as you can, Mr. Rupton. If whoever tried to kill you finds out you're still alive, do you think they'll let you just walk away? They'd figure you'd talk. This is your best shot at getting out of this alive. So I'm only as valuable as what I may or may not know. Aubrey gave a deep sigh and tried not to lose his patience. For all I know, you're not that bad a guy. Maybe you just made a few bad decisions. The fact is that you're still a person, and it's my job to protect you as much as I can. And I think that being proactive here and getting these other people off the street would be more beneficial than letting you simply walk out of here to whatever doom is lying in wait for you. It's your choice. Finished with his lecture, Aubrey turned on his heels and headed toward the door. Calvin thought about his own situation. At this moment, he had no one on his side. Grosswell would not stop until he was dead. His contact, who'd gotten him into business with the other dealers, would surely ghost him. Even Roger was still out there, and it was just a matter of time before he came after Calvin again. Roger. The idea that the man he loved was trying to kill him broke Calvin's heart. But it also put things into perspective. Calvin had been willing to die to protect Roger, but Roger was planning to kill him and save his own ass. So what was the point in dying now? Why not try to clean his own mess? Wait, Calvin called out just as Aubrey was about to leave. I think I might know something. Simon Grosswell sat down to a hearty breakfast of pancakes, eggs, crispy bacon, and sourdough toast to go with his morning coffee. He'd just been updated from Roger about his failure to kill that junky piece of shit Calvin. Simon responded that he had 2 days to make it right or he would consider the contract and his life void. Being in business for so long, Simon knew he never should have trusted Calvin, but the young man's idea had been very intriguing, and it worked for a time until the scumbag decided to fuck him over. Simon took it as a lesson in life to never go against his rules. At least Calvin would serve it as an example. In this business, you had to remind the rats in the streets what happens when they steal from the wrong people. Simon was about to start in on his breakfast when there was a knock at the door. He sighed and tied his pink robe before venturing to the front door. When he opened it, he stared into the face of Detective First Class Jackson Aubrey. Mr. Grosswell? Aubrey asked. Yes, Simon responded cautiously. How can I help you? Mr. Grosswell, I'm here to place you under arrest for conspiracy to distribute narcotics, money laundering, and witness tampering. Please turn around and place your hands behind your back. The color in Simon's face faded. He felt his heart drop into his stomach. Sir, there must be some mistake. He looked around and noticed that the street was swarmed with uniformed cops, and squad cars blocked all the exits. Mr. Grosswell, I advise you to turn around and place your hands behind your back before I add a resisting arrest charge to the list, Aubrey ordered. Simon had no choice but to comply. He pivoted and placed his arms behind him. The cuffs clicked around his wrists, and he winced a little as the uncomfortable metal dug into his skin. Then Detective Aubrey put a hand on his shoulder and escorted him to one of the squad cars. Simon's pale face turned red with embarrassment as he stared back at the gathering of crowd of neighbors who had never suspected him of any wrongdoing. Officer Whitson pulled into the station to start his shift. As he turned off his car, he flipped through a little notebook he carried in his shirt pocket. In it was his schedule of cash pickups throughout the week. Today being a Thursday, he had a pimp, a street dealer, and an identity forger to shake down for his weekly payoff. He'd gotten so busy they had to keep a schedule of who to see on each day. He strolled into the station, giving a wink to the pretty female officer working at the reception desk. Soon she wouldn't resist his charm any longer. He noticed her giving him sideways glances, and the occasional flirting was starting to bore him. Sure, she had a boyfriend, but that just added to the challenge. However, as he walked up to the desk and gave her a knowing smile, her face didn't have its normal cheery outlook. Instead, she looked at him as if he was a piece of shit on the bottom of her shoe. "The captain wants to talk to you," she stated flatly. Whitson wasn't expecting that. This was never a good sign. He thought back to how many times he'd seen others walk into the captain's office and hear the ass chewing from the other side of the door. He'd always tried to avoid that, and he felt nervous at the potential embarrassment he was doomed to experience. "What for?" he asked, noticing that most of the other cops around the entrance foyer were staring at him. So the receptionist officer crossed her arms and pursed her lips. "Go find out for yourself." He looked at her for a second with shock, but her sudden abrupt attitude with him was the least of his worries. He walked past the desk and up the stairs to the second floor, and from there to the main office where most of the other officers had their desks. At the end of the room was the captain's office, and Whitson could see his superior along with a couple men in dark blue suits. As soon as the captain glanced in Whitson's direction and noticed him, he stomped to the doorway of the office and crooked his finger at Whitson for him to come inside. "Get your fucking ass in here," he growled. Whitson gulped and walked past his fellow officers, growing increasingly red in the face. His captain didn't say anything as he entered the office, just pointed to a wooden chair that was propped in the center of the room. He sat down and faced his captain while the suit stood behind him. "Whitson, these two men are from Internal Affairs," the captain stated. "We've heard some rumors about you." Whitson felt like he was going to throw up. He started to sweat and found it hard to control his breathing. The captain sneered at him, noticing his discomfort. "That's what I thought. You know you're fucked, right?" This concludes the end of Chapter 10. If you want to pick up a copy, they all are available on Amazon. If you'd like to get a signed copy, you can always go on my website, jamesmichaelsbooks.com. My personal email is on there. You can always email me for a signed copy for yourself. You can also sign up to my email subscription and get updated on upcoming books, deals, events, content, things of that nature. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.